Welcome to the Messy Middle Season 2. I am your host, Jamila, and this season we are having real conversations from women standing in the middle of a turning point. So, y'all know how I do. Short story. Not long ago, I had one of those moments where, you know, things should have felt bigger than it did. Um, Something worked out, something that I was really hoping for, stressing over, and just kind of ruminating about in my mind. And when it finally happened, there was no phone call to make, no, you're not going to believe this text, no person who would immediately understand why this moment mattered to me so much. And the strangest part wasn't really the silence, it was how quickly my own excitement just kind of dwindled. It was like the wind didn't fully land because it had nowhere to go. And that experience has been staying with me because we don't talk about this kind of thing enough, this side of growth. When you have the quiet milestones and the private victories and the moments that look like progress on paper but they feel oddly lonely in real life. So success is usually framed as this loud celebratory thing. People clapping and people cheering and people validating. But many women know a different version of that. They know where you're doing well, moving forward and achieving things and carrying all of it alone. And that's what we're getting into today. And I'm really glad to be having this conversation with someone who I know will bring honesty and depth to the topic. Today's guest is my dear friend Elle. Elle is the host of Single Girl Woes, a podcast for women navigating modern dating, boundaries, and self trust. I am obsessed with this podcast. I'm so proud of her. Known for her honest storytelling and grounded perspective, she empowers women to choose clarity, peace, and standards without apology. She's also the creator of Today I Choose Me, a self-guided journal, designed to make journaling feel simple, intentional, and easy to commit to. In her spare time, Elle enjoys traveling, exploring museums, live music, and outdoor events. She has also recently developed a deep appreciation for what she calls her newest expensive hobby, Lego. And I am obsessed with that as well. Shout out to my nephew for that. Um, just as she closes each episode of her podcast, she firmly believes in one guiding statement: be bold, be you. Thank you so much for being here and stepping into this conversation with me, Elle.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. I'm looking forward to it. So, what we're talking about today is essentially navigating wins when there's nobody to really celebrate those wins with. So, let me start by asking you this. What comes to mind for you when you hear the phrase wins you celebrate alone?
The things that come to mind hearing that are, kind of the things that you touched on in your opening story. You achieve something that you personally have set out to do, accomplish, and not having that person to share in that excitement. And when I say that, I'm not talking about family. because I feel like, there's certain subsets of people in our lives that no matter what, they're going to celebrate you. But truly having your person that has either been on the journey with you to reach said success or win, and being able to fully embrace you in that moment of
Mm.
the win.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that. And even the aspect of um having family to celebrate those wins with, even that can be a
Oh,
tricky thing. I know I experienced that in my own life when when I achieve something that I'm super excited about. Like for example, um in November I had just finished getting a coaching certification, and I told my family, and they were like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like it, like I
yeah, it didn't
haven't.
land the way you
It
wanted.
didn't land,
And when I
and
say family, maybe I guess in my case, when I use that word loosely, and I've
uh-huh.
come to terms that family also is just like the word friend is loose. When I guess for me, I can only speak from my viewpoint. When I say family, I'm talking about like my little subset. So my mom, my brother, my son, my
Hmm.
sister, um, is what I consider. But yeah, I definitely see your point when I honestly have stopped sharing my wins when you look at the broader spectrum of family. I'll post it on Facebook. That's how I notify them. Like I no longer
Exactly.
do the outreach. Like when I say family for me, I'm really talking about like, okay, here's my immediate little pocket of people that are gonna celebrate that. Family in the sense of the word, yeah, they find out on social media most time like everybody else.
Yeah.
From that standpoint of like you said, not wanting or feeling a certain kind of way when the excitement doesn't land the way that you feel like it should land because of reaching said accomplishment in life.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. So if you don't mind sharing, um, what what is an example of something that you've accomplished that you felt was important, and then you know you wonder why it didn't hit the way you expected.
So for me, I'll take it from like my real life. I think I've mentioned to you before, I have my work head and then I have like, okay, here are all the things I'm into after work. In my work life, in my 9 to 5, what I do for a living. This is one area of my life where I'm very committed. I wish I could take some of this in my personal life. I've been at my job, come next month, it will be 19 years.
Oh,
That's unheard of. One, somebody my age, 46, been at a job for 19 years. And I recently navigated a promotion into a different department, um, tapping back into an area in which my master's degree is in. I got my master's degree in human resources management and, didn't immediately go into that field. I've used some of those skill sets in the roles that I have had in my place of employment. But back in July, I actually took on the position of Senior Director of Organizational Effectiveness. That's just a fancy word for being senior person of HR in the organization that I am employed with in my real life, my 9 to 5 life, not my podcast life.
hmm.
And like it's been a long time coming. The last 2 years, I have been sharing and expressing with, some friends and people, even my employer, my boss, and everything that I needed to get out of the department that I was in because I just felt tapped out. And I was tasked with, like really doing all the work, doing all the things, writing out that job description and what it would look like, how I would apply, because it's really a new position within our organization. Some of the things that falls under the HR umbrella, we had been contracting out. This was a side of me that I hadn't even told my employer, like, hey, I have a MBA in HR. I can be kind of private and compartmentalize certain aspects of my success in life. all that to say, did all of that, was all the back and forth of negotiating the salary and all of that. Ended up getting the salary that I wanted, getting the position that I wanted, getting out of the department that I just felt like I had reached my expiration point, all while staying with a place of employment that allows me the flexibility. And I really like it. I really like the company. I really like what we do and all of that. And so all the work that went into it, then I get this promotion, and it was bittersweet
Mm.
because there was nobody to like celebrate that with.
Yeah.
And, because like I said before, like my mom, of course, she's going to be happy for me. My son is going to be happy for me. My brother's going to be happy for me. My mom bought me a Lego set. But
I
it's
love the
like,
thoughtfulness of that.
like that is my love language. But it was one of those things where it's like, okay, she's my mom. She
Yeah.
should do that. But it
Yeah.
wasn't like I didn't have my person, not even a friend that could really celebrate that moment with me. I shared it on social media, and it's just like your birthday. You post certain things on social media, you get like the congrats and all of that, and it's fine, but it's very surface level. It's like the check the box. Okay, somebody posts this. This is how I'm supposed to respond. I
Mhm.
really needed that genuine somebody really saying, "You really worked hard for this. Good job. Way to go."
Yeah. 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 Yes, I totally yes all the way. Especially when it comes to sharing really anything that is important to you, whether it's accomplishments or just like the way that you feel about a thing or
Mhm.
whatever, and you kind of get those generic reactions. It's like thoughts and prayers,
Mhm.
you know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. They kind of it's nice and it's you they will congratulate you with words, but
Mhm.
the celebration is not necessarily present, which is what
Yes.
you
I'll
want
e
to feel the love and feel the congratulations as opposed to just,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
just, yeah, I feel
I'll
you on that.
I'll even add another layer to this. So again, as I mentioned, like this is something that I've been navigating for a while of like wanting to get out of the department, wanting to stay with the company, but feel like I was growing, within the company because I had kind of like reached a flatline point. So my ex, we've last week was 2 years that we've been apart. But we're still kind of cordial because it was one of those things like we didn't really break up on bad terms. We just realized that with distance and where we were in life, it just wasn't a good mesh. And so we were able to bounce back and be in a space of being cordial. So even like with that, when I realized that I did not have the person or persons to celebrate the win with, you know, I had reached out to him like with this excitement because he was somebody that has been along the journey with me, even prior to our breakup. He had gave, really good advice of, just do this, do that, or whatever. So I had even reached out thinking like, okay, this is somebody that understands like how hard I have worked towards
Mm-hmm.
this. And
Mm-hmm.
even then it landed flat.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay. And as much as like even now talking about it, like it is a good milestone for me, but I still don't feel like it's been celebrated the
Yeah.
way that it should have because of all the work that went into said win for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand, how I don't know if I want to use the word devastating, but it could feel
Hmm.
that way when, it's something that they know you've been working hard on it and something that you've been wanting, and then when you finally get it, it's like it
Hmm.
just doesn't hit like you thought it would.
Yeah, it just was like, okay. Like it really was it's like one of those things like again, like I said, when you post stuff on social media and you post your birthday or and nobody wishes you happy birthday, it's just like, oh, okay, I guess it's not that important.
Right. Yeah.
And that's how it was. And it just was like, oh, okay. And while I enjoy what I'm doing now, but I'm not as passionate about it as I thought
Mm,
I would be because I still there's a part of me that feels like it still needs that moment to be celebrated beyond myself.
that's very interesting. That's a very interesting thing to, bring up and feel. So do you think that success feels different when there is no one to witness it?
Oh, I definitely think it feels differently. I mean, it's quiet, and I mean, and I know um through, therapy, all that kind of stuff. Like I know like there's certain things that you should not rely on other people for. But we're all human. Like we
Right.
all crave a certain level of like connection and um praise from
Mhm.
others,
Yeah.
beyond what you do for yourself. So it definitely hits different when you don't have that person. Like I said, it just feels silent.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It feels silent. And that was actually going to be, my next question to you, like what emotions do you tend to feel, or what actually shows up for you when there's no one to share your good news with?
Mhm. Like I said, it's quiet. I mean, and it
Yeah.
doesn't like again, I recognize it, and that's something that I have gotten better at in this space in my life of, just kind of being single and not relying on others for that level of praise. But again, like I said, I'm human. You want
Yeah.
that from somebody else. It just hits different. It's just like, we just celebrated Love Day, Valentine's Day. It's different when somebody else brings you the flowers versus you buying them for yourself.
Hmm. Yep. That's that's one thing that tends to irritate me about the way people respond to wanting to feel loved or seen or celebrated by another person.
Mhm.
They have a tendency to equate that desire with not loving yourself or with being unhealed in some area of your life or being lacking or feeling lacking, and that's not that
It's not
ain't
the
it.
case. Yeah, it's not
You're
it.
human.
Sometimes you need the extra, it's just different when you receive it from somebody else because
Yeah.
again, I feel like yes, you should be happy for yourself. Yes, I should love on myself. Yes, I should do those things. So for me, appreciating my wins, celebrating my wins for myself, that's just natural self-care for me. That's what I am supposed to do for
Right.
myself in those moments. But again,
Right.
it just feels different when you have somebody that it's like it's the perk. Everybody enjoys the perks and the extra, it's like the cherry on top. Like
Right.
who
Yeah.
doesn't want that?
Right. Exactly. And we all and we all deserve that. Like that's not
Mhm.
something that anybody should go without. Like
Mhm.
that's a part of the package that is love, as far as
Mhm.
I'm concerned.
No, I agree.
You need that. That's a part of the thing that sustains you and kind of keeps you going and fuels you. So
Mhm.
you're absolutely right. Um, have you uh, have have you accomplished something and then that win kind of made you feel a little strange about it because you didn't really have anybody to share it with? Like, did you feel unsure about the win, or how you felt about the win when you didn't have anybody to share it with?
I appreciated the win. I recognized it for what it was. But yeah, there have been moments where it sends me on, I call them like these deep spirals or these pivot moments where it's like, why don't I have somebody that I can celebrate this with? Like,
Mm,
what am I doing? You just go down this whole other rabbit hole of like questions and thoughts, and again, it starts to undermine the win because it's like, well, why don't I have this person?
yeah,
Am I not deserving of this
yeah,
person? So it's like, all those other questions and you know, self check-ins or however you want to label them, it's like they overshadow. Like, girl, do you realize what you just accomplished? Do you realize what
mm,
what you just did?
yeah,
Because you get so bogged down with well, what's wrong with me? Why don't I have a person? Why can't I? This one is like usually big for me. Why don't I have somebody that I can pick up the phone that I can call to celebrate this
mhm,
win with me? That's by default not gonna be like overjoyed. So again, going back to that short list, my mom, my brother, my son, my sister. Why don't I
yeah,
have another person on that list that's going to genuinely be happy for me,
yeah,
that's gonna genuinely celebrate me. And it could be again something so small, another example relating back to me. Last Friday, I was having to navigate a real life situation with my bank account had got hacked into. And anybody that really knows me on my podcast in the first season, anybody that follows me on my like actual social media pages, I'm a daddy's girl. And,
mm,
I've been navigating these last 2 years of like life without my dad. And
mhm,
so last week when my bank account got hacked into, I got all that straight, was adult enough to, figure that out. And they told me, you need to close out this account and open up a new account. Well, internally, I spiraled because, be it as it is, I've had this account with this particular bank since I was 13 years old. My dad opened that account for me. So it was a
mm,
major thing of like,
yeah,
this is the last thing that I
mm,
have, I mean, I have like other possessions, but it was just like, oh my God, like this account holds a little bit more value than just my money going into it. However,
yeah,
I
yeah,
navigated it. I didn't have like the panic attack. I didn't spiral out and break down crying. To me, that was a win because I can't say that 6 months ago I would not have been boohooing crying in those people bank just because they told me, ma'am, you need to close out this account. Or me having to call my mom to say, I need you to help me navigate this because I'm mentally not prepared. So
mhm,
being able to navigate even something like that in my personal life was a win for me.
yeah,
And there was nobody that I could celebrate. They're like, I literally sent a message through Instagram DM to my cousin that lives in North Carolina to say, hey, this happened. She knew the significance of that account. And of course, she was like, I'm really proud of you because, yeah, 6 months ago, you would have spiraled out. And I appreciated her, like, acknowledging that without me having to say, 6 months ago, I would have da da da. But it's like, again, even something that simple hit different than if I had my person who would have understood how even something so simple really was like a huge win for me that should have been acknowledged or celebrated.
yeah. Well, I will spare you the I'm proud of you for the way you handled that, even though I really am. Um, because
You
I
know I'm a
probably
daddy's girl. You know I have
I
been.
I
You follow
know
me in my personal space. You know I spiral out every chance I can get. Like I that's one of the things I realized how dependent my dad was as being my person of like celebrating my win.
but we can get into this another time, but like there there are ways that you can still celebrate your wins with him, even
Mhm.
though he's not here in the physical. But again, that's the conversation for
Well,
another
yeah, that's a
day.
whole nother topic.
at another time, so we won't go there. Um, so does it feel do the wins that you know acquire or cure um alone, does it feel more about like physical aloneness, or is it more of a deeper internal, like, dang, I don't have anybody to share this with? Is it more like a depressive type of thing?
I think as I navigate this, I have moved past the point of it becoming depressing for me.
Mm.
I have moved beyond the point of like it really making me feel defeated. I am in a space of still learning. You don't have your person, be patient. You want the right person, and that be that relationship and friendships. You
Yeah,
want the
sure.
right person to celebrate those wins with. And in doing that, I am learning to embrace the moments. I am learning to find my own happiness in those moments.
Mm,
And it looks different, but I am moving beyond that space of feeling the depression and the loneliness because that's how it started off being that way of like, oh my God, what the world am I doing? And that deep state of like depression that then triggers into anxiety attacks, panic attacks,
yeah,
can't sleep, can't eat, can't this, can't that. And that's not healthy.
yeah.
So when I have these wins to keep me from again going down that, I look at it as this is just a part of the process of being me, my season of me. And here are the things, here's the self-care things, here's the ways that I'm going to celebrate me to fill that void of not having that person.
Mm,
And then I use my journal to get out all of the angry, frustrating, and defeating emotions and just get it out in that moment so that I can really bask in the hard work for my wins because I
sure.
am starting to notice and accept that they shouldn't just get kind of swept under the rug because I don't have my person. I don't want not having my person or having people to be the reason that I create a community around me that's really not for me. Because that's a whole nother topic as well. Having the wrong people around you celebrating said wins when it's not
Facts.
genuine.
That is a fact. And it it hits even more different
Yes.
when you have the awareness that the
Yes.
people are wrong for
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. Been there, which is why I say, but again, but to your original question, I have been in that space where it has been the feeling of depression and loneliness. And
Hmm.
I don't like how being in those spaces make me feel. So I am continuing to learn and navigate and put things in place so that I can be present in the wins without going back to those places.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay, so let's kind of transition to kind of our inner dialogue when we talk about celebrating wins by ourselves. And so my first question for you here is, have you ever questioned whether or not a win actually mattered to you when you felt like no one really cared or you didn't have anybody to share it with?
I am starting because I have not always been there. So I'm not like, I am starting to not care about having the person or the persons to celebrate the win. I am learning more, even with some of the small wins, kind of like I was saying before, of just making sure that it matters for me.
Mm,
And that in itself is starting to outweigh not having the person, if that makes sense.
yeah, absolutely. It makes sense.
So it's kind of
Um,
like one of those things like, I'm not I was having a similar conversation with somebody and they're like, "Oh, I think you're just accepting defeat in this chapter of singleness and not having your person." And I'm like, "No, I'm not accepting defeat, but I also have been in this space long enough that it's also not productive to me to go down these spirals and these deep dark paths of knowing
mhm.
what's not there. There's
Yeah,
still things that I need to accomplish. There are still things that and wins that I want with, the things that I'm involved with in my personal space. There are still things that, you know, I want to accomplish professionally. And I have, kind of, it was the word that I want. I have kind of committed to myself that I am going to celebrate those wins loudly for myself
yeah,
in the absence of having a person. Because again, back in July with the thing with the promotion and stuff of work, like that didn't land how I wanted to land. And I should have been a bigger person for myself and celebrated it and not get caught up and go down the whole rabbit hole of not having my person. It can be another 2 3 years before I find my person. I shouldn't dim my light of celebrating myself in the absence of or in the lack of having said person or community around me.
I love that. I love that so much. Do you feel like do you feel like people they kind of underestimate um how isolating success can feel when you're navigating it by yourself?
I think they do, but I mean, it's some of our reality. And again, like I said, I'm at a place where I rather navigate it on my own than having the wrong people around me fake celebrating it with me or for me.
Hmm, I feel that. I definitely feel that it's better to have the right around you than the wrong. Because when you are surrounded by the wrong people, um, it kind of at least this has been my experience. A lot of times, if I feel like I'm surrounding myself with the wrong people, and I have accomplished something that I wanted. Once I realized that those were not the right people, I started to wonder whether or not I really should have gone after the thing that I accomplished.
Because sometimes their praise is not really like really praise. It's just like
Right.
it comes with like this condescending undertone, like, "Oh, congratulations, I guess." Or
Yeah.
congratulations, bud. Or, look, I
Not the
get it.
butt.
So, like, but, and with that, again, like, I'm in a space now of protecting my mental sanity, protecting my mental well being. So, in that, it's like, okay, celebrating me, celebrating my wins right now, it's going to look a little, a little different. Um,
Mm,
I am learning to not be dependent on that outside approval and acceptance so that I don't diminish or get discouraged from going after more success, more wins, again, because not having the person or persons to say, hey, good job.
yeah. So do you have like a ritual or any kind of specific process that helps you navigate that?
I'm winging it, girl. I am winging it. Look, there is no, look, I, someone, they were talking about people saying stuff and they have these undertones. Um, someone said they pointed out the fact recently to me, like, you write books and and I'm like, look, I'm not in the business of like self-help for people.
Mm,
I am navigating life in real time. Anytime I'm on any platform speaking, anytime I'm sharing something on social media, I am the first to say to people, I'm a hot mess sometimes and I am figuring this out. I am in, which I love the name of your I am in the messy middle of this
listen,
with you. So to your question, it's not like it looks different every time. I am trying to figure out what that ritual, what that is. Only thing that I can say that is consistent is that I have promise myself and I am allowing my space to not allow the absence of a person diminish the win. And so if I had to like so if it means that I'm going to spend some extra money on buying me a Lego set, then that's what I'm going to do. If it means that I have to treat myself to my favorite dinner, okay, I'm going to spend the money and do it myself. But there is no I don't have the 12-step program of like what's in place. I am literally navigating it as, these moments of success and wins happen. And each time so far, these last few months, it's looked different.
sometimes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 it looks different. Sometimes it may be
Yeah.
loud music or, just as I said, dances no one is watching. Like sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's just because I want to, tap myself on the shoulder, I'm going to share this very long, detailed post on my social page and not care about the likes or the comments or anything like that. But it's better out than in. And in that moment, I am getting gratitude for myself by putting out what it is I've done. So it looks different every time. I'm ask me that question a year from now. Maybe I would have figured out a true like this is my ritual, this is my approach to this. But as of right now, I'm winging it of
And,
what feels good in that moment.
I think that for a lot of people in a lot of situations, regardless of whatever mess you might be in the middle of, winging it with regard to trying to figure out how to navigate it is the best thing for you, because not everything that works for others is going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And, and the other way around, vice versa. So winging it, I listen, if whatever keeps you afloat and
Right?
whatever keeps you, because life is lifing out here for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all trying to figure it out in, the best ways that we can. And we're doing the best we can with what we have and with what
Yes.
we know until we can do better. And
Uh,
even when you can do better, you still winging it.
mm-hmm.
So
And
you
sometimes
never
when you think you have figured it out, it's like, oh no, I really have not figured that out.
right,
So yeah.
exactly. You
I
think you
will say
figured it
in
out.
winging it, it's also helping me with control issues because I like having a routine. I do like having things, in a certain order. So I am again looking at this, whole approach, like I said, of winging it of like, okay, it's showing me that I don't have to be in control all the time. It's okay to like do things on the fly. So in the end, it's helping me in other areas of my self development and self growth.
That whole control thing is a whole nother beast. And I don't think either one of us have enough time.
Oh my. If I had to be in the business, I was thinking about this when someone mentioned to me of like this whole self-help thing. I don't know how they figured my writing is about self-help. Maybe it is, but in a bad way. I don't know. But I went down this rabbit hole and I was like, if I did start to talk about self help, what are the things that I could talk about? And I kid you not, control was one of them because I am starting to realize, like, oh, I may have some control issues as
Mm,
again, I start to unpack even the simplest of things and something as simple as celebrating the win and how do you do that in a solo space? It's
yeah.
like, oh, girl, you really do have control issues. So it's helping me in that regard. But yeah, I'll put an extra star beside that if I ever go the route of being one of those self help people. That maybe one of my good topics, my TED talk, would be on control issues.
Well, this conversation is gonna help somebody. I can guarantee you that. Even if it's just you,
Yeah,
sometimes you don't know how much you need something that you have said until you listen to it back and be like, dang, I needed that.
facts, facts, and facts.
So you never know just how much you just helped yourself until a couple days from now it's gonna hit you.
Or the reminder, like, I don't know
Yeah,
about you, like, sometimes, like, even re-listening to, like, old podcasts and stuff like that, it's like, "Oh, I needed that reminder. I got
yeah,
too far away from that point or that lesson that, I was on the path of, like, uncovering." So, no, you have a very
mm,
valid point. Like, sometimes in the playback, it's, helping
yeah,
yourself remember.
absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about now the bigger picture. Um, and what I want to ask you is, does achievement without anyone to share it with sometimes mess with your motivation at all? And if so, how?
It has. I have And I think I've shared this with you. Like, I am my biggest critic sometimes. And
As are we all.
yes, and there are some times where I won't do stuff, and it's not always because of, you know, the the perception from others. Like, is this gonna land with people or whatever? It sometimes comes down to like, that celebration piece of it. But again,
Mm,
in this mindset that I am moving more into, it's just like, let's just throw all the paint at the wall and let's just again, let's wing it. Let's do it. But I definitely
yeah,
have been in that space of like not wanting to achieve or pursue certain accomplishments because of not having the cheering squad,
yeah,
once it's been achieved.
yeah. That's a space that I feel myself navigating um often. Being an entrepreneur and trying to do different ventures and different businesses and make certain things happen. I will sometimes not go through with the thing because I know like nobody's gonna support me or nobody's gonna
Hmm.
clap for me if I actually do this thing, or so I just don't do it.
Hmm.
I lose
Exactly.
motivation when I know that I don't have, like you said, that cheering squad. So I totally get that.
Mhm.
Do you how do you think that solitude can reshape how success is defined?
It's just blocking out, again, it's human nature that we want to be praised and awarded. So I think it's just a matter of just like blocking it out or coming to the realization like, hey, in this season, and I use the word season because seasons change. So
Mm,
in this season, this is where I am. But that doesn't mean I can't be productive. I can't have wins and be successful in this season. This too shall pass. So in this moment, I don't have that person, but I'm going to still continue. Because again, there are some things that we can't keep putting on hold until we have that cheering squad.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a matter of look at it as a season. This is going to change. Continue to do it, and it may be down the line you get that person, you get that cheering squad, and you may revisit it, and who's to say it can't be celebrated then?
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
that's just kind of like, again, the season that I'm in of being single, hating dating, um being very picky about those things. It's like, who is to say when I do find that community, when I do find that person, that we can't revisit to celebrate this moment?
I love that idea actually. Like put the some important, achievements on a list or something.
Hmm.
And then when your person comes, like, look, I did this on this date, and I think that we should do this to celebrate.
So I'm going to share this with you. I don't know if you've seen it. So, as we're 2 months into 2026, so going into the new year, there was all these, like, my algorithm was filled with like all these things that people were doing with going into the new year. I stopped making resolutions a long time ago. So, you
Mhm.
had people that were doing the intentions. There were people that were doing the winter solstice. There were people that were doing the bingo card. One of the things that I did this year was like writing down all of the things that I wanted to leave behind in 2025, and at midnight broke the plate or whatever.
I
But
saw
then
that and I was so like, that moved me.
it was powerful. But then I started to see, and I was like, oh, I need to remember this, to the point that you just made of writing down the wins. It was this thing that, and I've seen people do it by themselves, and I've seen people do it with their group. But I was like, okay, if I need to do this solo, it was, people had like a cake, and they had like these little pics with like their accomplishments written on it. And for each accomplishment, it was kind of like putting a candle in the cake, of like, so that you had a visual of like, I am that girl. Here are all the
Mm,
things that I accomplished this year. So, to your point, I have started to write down my wins, because I was like, you know what? And maybe I'll do it at a midway point. My birthday's in June. So it's like a midway point in the year. And it's like,
mhm.
maybe I'll do that for my birthday, and, just kind of create that visual. Cause sometimes that's all we need to see, that reminder of like, forget the cheering squad for right now. Let me be my own cheering squad and embrace this moment while we're in this moment. But
I
I
love
thought that was like, oh, I want to try that. Just write down everything, put it in a cake, and just have that visual, and then eat the cake. That's my celebration for all the stuff I've done the last 6 months or a year. So, this whole thing of like navigating this space alone, it's like we just got to get creative on, how we celebrate us, celebrate our hard
absolutely.
work.
Absolutely. I love that so much. So what would you say to someone who feels unseen in their progress and their success, and not having anybody to share that thing with?
Be bold, be you. It's just a season. It will change.
I to the people who are listening, this is why I love this chick, because it's so simple, but it's so like impactful and so true, and it's really it's really important. So, that was straight to the point, but when you need it, it's gonna hit you.
I look,
So
I am embracing the kids principle. Keep it sweet and simple. And
I love
sometimes
that.
that's the best. And so, yeah, that's be bold, be you. And again, this is stuff that, again, not in the business of self-help, but I am navigating this space that people are in, about to be in, coming out of, and sitting where I am in this space, in the messy middle of this. It's just like, you know what? This is what it is right now. For myself, I have stopped trying to find the cheering squad or the cheer person for me, because I want to take my time. I want to be selective in doing that, in love, in friendship, partnership, however we want to label it. So, in the midst of that, I have said as I embrace 47, I am I'm on the tail end of about to cross over into 50. There are things that I know I need to accomplish in this chapter of 40 that may not hit the same when I get to 50. So we're going to do it. We're going to do it now. And like I said, we'll either celebrate it later with the person or the cheering squad, or we're just going to find cute little ways to celebrate it ourselves, in this season. So just do it, as Mikey says.
And there you have it, folks. That's what you need to know. And I'm so thankful that you chose to, indulge me in this conversation and, come with me on this particular part of the messy middle journey. There's so much to take from everything that you said, and a whole lot of lessons that can be learned, and just a lot of good nuggets that we can put in our pockets and carry with us throughout our day. So I'm eternally grateful for you and to you, and I really just appreciate you as a human, as
No,
as a Black
thanks.
woman, and as my friend and a colleague, and all of the things. I adore you.
No,
So
thanks. It's definitely mutual. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm glad to come over here and be in the messy middle.
I'm glad you
I
didn't
like
get stuck to the bottom of it, because it's a lot of mess.
it. I'm staying afloat right here in the middle. I like it
Right.
here.
Stand afloat. So tell the people how they can find you, where they can find you.
Um, I can be found on Instagram and Threads under Single Girl Woes Podcast. If you want to email me, Single Girl Woes Podcast at Gmail. And my podcast, Single Girl Woes, is available right now on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon Music.
Please go and find this podcast. I promise you something will bless you within it. As I have been blessed many a time myself. Um, and so as we close today's episode, I just want to give you guys something worth remembering. A win does not become small just because it happens in silence. Progress still counts. Growth still matters. Movement is still movement, even when there's no applause, no validation, no one fully aware of what it took to get there. If you are navigating milestones on your own, I hope this conversation reminds you of one thing. Your life does not need an audience to be meaningful. So thank you all for joining me in this journey. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Elle, again for taking the time and having this conversation with me in the messy middle. And I will see you all again next week. Take care.